recording this the day before the episodes become available to me. I just saw something on Twitter and have some pre-episode thoughts. I've mentioned before I usually get Screencap spoilers from the official Love Life Twitter. This time it was this particular screenshot that shows clearly an insert song with Ren. And I have to wonder, without seeing the episode, without knowing the context of the screenshot, all I can gather is that somehow in the span of like 22 minutes, negative the time for the song, so like 20 minutes, they get Ren to join, write a song, choreograph the dance, and then perform it somewhere. This just cements the fact that the pacing for this is all over the damn place. The me of September 19th is very keen to see what the me of September 20th thinks of all this when I get some context. Well, looks like a lot of my predictions came true. I liked how this episode just jumped straight back into the story. That's the kind of pacing that I've been really enjoying from Leela. But as I mentioned in my little message from last night, pacing, who is she? Clearly we don't know her. Anyway, Ren is way too proud, like self-destructive proud. As a fellow workaholic, I do get it, I feel it, but she's literally broke and declined the chance to keep living comfortably for a legacy that isn't even hers. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about Ren's story. I feel like there's a lot of ways that it could have been done differently. For starters, I love the motivation. I think family is a fantastic motivation, and that kind of grief plot is the best way I can describe it. It's a very powerful tool. It's a strong plot point to go for, but there's a lot of ways that it can be done wrong, and I'm not necessarily saying that it's been done wrong here. I just feel like it wasn't as strong as it could have been. For starters, building the school off of the plans and the ideas that Ren's mother had, the whole I want everyone to be connected through music thing, I think that's fantastic. That's great writing. It's a good motivation, it's a strong basis for Ren to do what she does. But knowing that Ren had no idea what kind of a time her mum had as a school idol, it's an interesting motivation for why she didn't want there to be idols at the school, but at the same time, I feel like the box was kind of a deus ex machina for this story. The fact that her most treasured memories were locked in a school that up until, like a month ago, maybe, had been closed down, assumed abandoned. I'm not sure how to feel about it, honestly, because I think, obviously, when Kanon first got the keys, there was obviously 2 keys on the ring, and that appeared again in the story. I think that's good. That's really good, subtle foreshadowing in a way that a lot of people probably wouldn't pick up. It's just, oh yeah, they've got 2 keys. One's probably for the front door and one's for the storage room, whatever. You wouldn't expect something that important to be left with the school, or the remnants of the school. It ties in a little too nicely, and although I really enjoyed it, it's just it feels like the writers didn't know how to get Ren involved, so they included her mum as the reason for that. So probably what's going to happen now is we're going to forget all about Ren's mum. She's no longer going to be relevant to the story at all. Considering how important she is to Ren, it is not a good idea to completely ignore her. I think that there still needs to be certain plot points and stories that involve her in some way, but knowing Love Live, we're going to forget she exists. Because in terms of the story, she's done her job. She's motivated Ren, and now Ren's joined the group, and obviously the next episode is, oh, how do they get their name? I'll throw in my ideas for how that happens later. Jumping back onto the actual story, Sumire hiding under the desk when Kanon is talking to the rest of the general course students was very funny. She's just accepted that, yeah, no, I'm a coward, I'm just gonna sit here and growl at you. That was very good. But Cuckoo immediately changing her mind because school idols, like, typical, typical. That didn't lead to anything, it's just my pet peeves about Cuckoo being kind of one note coming up again. Ren being punished. Oh man, I spoke about this last time, but Ren being punished by having the festival threatened was, I think, really good. I really like that. It was one of the better options that we had in this kind of story, and I really like how it played out, because something that she obviously felt very passionately about, she knew was important, all of a sudden was under threat. It could have been cancelled altogether. The conflict between the two courses, like, that was always going to happen. That was a very obvious kind of conflict, but I think it played out well. It was interesting, it was engaging, and it had a satisfying resolution. But it also had a predictable resolution. Oh, school idols bring everyone together! Haha, we've seen that 3 times. I say 3, I still haven't seen Nijigaku. It's Love Live. I don't know what else to expect. It's a story. Let's be fair, I'm not here for the story, I'm here for the characters. Anyway, the box just seemed too convenient. It seemed way too convenient that somehow Ren's mum didn't take her most treasured memories with her from the school. Like, maybe she had reason for leaving it there, like it was a nostalgia thing, or it was to protect Ren, but I don't... Like, the principal kind of touched on that, on like, oh no, she wanted Ren to make her own decision. And I get that. If you are hiding something from your kid because you're afraid it will influence them, like specifically something that you did that you were proud of or that you had a fun time doing, not necessarily negative things. Like if you're hiding something awful from your kid, then obviously, yes, you're doing the right thing. But in this situation, Ren's mum kept her, some of her happiest memories from Ren. Here's the thing, if Ren's mum was so passionate about being an idol and loved it so much, she would want to share that with her kid, right? It just seems strange, and that's gonna bug me. And because I know we're gonna forget all about this whole thing, we're gonna forget about the box, we're gonna forget about Ren's mum, we're not gonna get a satisfying reason why. In general, I don't know how to feel about that. I'm very much the kind of person that would like to see the why and the how of that kind of plot point, but the story is not about Ren. Let's be fair. It's about Kanon. Ren getting a center before Sumire and Sumire pointing it out, does that not just cement the fact that she's comic relief here? Because at what possible point is she going to get center? Because at this, they've been avoiding it, right? So surely they have some kind of big idea or like a plan in mind for Sumire being center, or they had no ideas and just keep putting it off. Which, look, I've done that too. I sometimes don't want to write specific plot points because I don't like world building, but it's got to be done. You've got to build a solid world to have a solid story. I just... Give Sumire the spotlight just once, please. Please. She deserves it at this point. Ren's arm-length fingerless gloves really spoke to teenage me. Oof, what a look. She rocks it though, it's good. Love that we still do the count before they go on stage. I kept hearing the rest of the numbers in my head, but, I think it's cute that it's still there. It's still an active part of Love Live. It's pretty integral to every performance now. I did think it funny that we didn't get it before Ren joined. Obviously, it would have been kind of weird for, Kanon and Cuckoo going, each knee, let's go! It's something that I've always enjoyed. It's sort of a hype moment for before the insert songs, and it works really well. I love the costumes. I did see them yesterday. I think it's really sweet that Ren wore her mum's outfit and the rest styled themselves accordingly. They're so clean compared to the last insert song, but they suit this song really, really well. I hope we get more costumes in that kind of more simple style, because it looks really nice, and as much as I love the over-the-top frills and bows kind of costumes, There is something gorgeous about something so simple, like an A-line dress with a couple coloured pleats and some feature buttons. Trust me, as a fashion designer, the less you put into a design, the more your pattern makers will like you. I've got a poster next to me of Yoshiko in her Aqua Heroes outfit, and as much as I love it, there's like 4 layers to those skirts. Cute as hell, but the idea of trying to make that hurts my brain. Like, obviously you could break it down, you can have like the frill attached to the bodice, and then you could have the second frill attached to the skirt, and then the skirt itself, and then the underfrills could be a petticoat. But that's already, you've got to make 3 different things. The dresses for this song is just one. It's one dress with some pleats and some cute buttons. That is so easy. That is so easy to make. Anyway, the next episode is obviously how the group gets their name. Muse took name suggestions. Aqua found it written in the sand. Nijigaku, I have no idea. I kind of think Leela might go back to the Muse formula, because I'm assuming that the divide between the general course and the music course is now abolished because school idols. So it makes a lot of sense that they'd be like, oh, everyone else at the school should help us choose what we're called because we're representing them. And that's cool. That means that the name holds a lot of meaning. It comes from the very people that they are representing. It's got a lot of narrative purpose. However, they could also do something arbitrary like finding it written in the sand, which, funny, no narrative power. I'll be honest, was it Mari who wrote it in the sand? I've honestly forgotten. If someone just happens upon the name and gives it to them, it's like, oh yeah, cool, whatever, we'll go with that. I like when there's more input from the other characters. Like, the one thing about Leela is that we haven't got the typical 3 support characters. They appear as support cards in School Idol Festival and don't have last names. We've had characters from both courses that appear a couple of times, but I don't know if we're gonna get the sort of named supports this time, and if Leela does become a bigger part of School Idol Festival, who their support cards are going to be. Obviously, we will get Kanon's mum and the principal. I don't know who else. There's only 2. We usually get lots, but anyway. I personally would like the name to come from somewhere within the school. If it was the name of the group that Ren's mum worked with, perhaps. Maybe it's an iteration of that name. That would be cool. Then we get that historical tie-in, the whole shoes we have to fill kind of plot, and that's very interesting. There's a lot of good flavour from that kind of motivation, that inspiration. But honestly, who knows at this point? This story has been all over the place, and with any luck, the name will come out of the same random Deus Ex Machina as the box that just so happened to have all of Ren's mum's idol memories in it. We'll see. I mean, I think from this point the story is going to pick up again because, you know, the group's here and now it's time for idol activities. I hope Sunny Park comes back. I get the feeling that we'll see them again and they'll be like, oh shit, there's 5 of you now? Cool, what's up? Maybe they'll go back to the island. Maybe we'll get to see some of the other idol groups. We've never really had that before. That could be fun. We've seen the posters of them. Probably not. That's probably not what's gonna happen, let's be honest. But I'm interested to see. I'm now more hooked on the story than I was, simply because I don't know which direction it's going to go. Hopefully it goes in the direction of a Sumire Center.